Hey guys, welcome to this section on English Objective B, Analysis. Let's remind ourselves of what it looks like in Nisa's own words so we know what we're dealing with here. Objective B looks at whether a student critically analyses and uses language forms, features, and structures of texts and evaluates their effects on meaning. Oh, thrilling. So, we're essentially looking at analysing language, features of texts, which we can call their form, and the structures of texts, which should help you get an idea of how you can use the same things in your own responses. Our endgame here is to figure out how these things have an effect on meaning, to which end we can say they shape meaning in texts. So to get the most out of this objective, we need to be comfortable with two key things. So the first part won't be too hard, and we'll cover that in the introduction video in a sec. However, it's definitely going to take us a bit longer to talk about language, form, and structure analysis. So each one of those methods of meaning shaping will get a brief exposition towards the end of this introduction before we give them each their own video or two afterwards. Sound good? Good. I want to start by asking, what is analysis? Basic question, I know, but the word analysis actually comes from a Greek word, analusis, which means to unloosen or unravel. So to analyze something therefore means to unravel, to break something down into smaller constituent components that help you understand the whole thing. When we analyze literature, we're looking to break it down into small, manageable parts that explain how an author creates meaning. And the reason we're so keen on analysis in English is that literary texts are different to normal texts in one crucial way. They're stuffed way more tightly with subtle meanings. They're higher pressure, if you like. And that means we normally need to unravel these texts if we're going to get anywhere near understanding them. Let's take a few lines from Philip Larkin's 1914. Never such innocence, never before or since, as changed itself to past, without a word. You might look at that and think, it's just writing really, but to get a good understanding of the meaning Larkin is creating here, and to get the best marks, you need to be asking questions about everything. For instance, why did Larkin choose the word as in the third line? Why did he choose to write a rhyming poem with short lines? And why does he split the subject and the verb by introducing that second line? How do all of these things help him to shape his meaning? Answering all of these questions will leave us with analysis, which will help you understand the text fully and also help you get high marks for this objective. Now, looking everywhere can be a slightly daunting task. But fortunately, we know that there are three main places we have to look. For Assessment Objective B, the examiners are looking for you to point out how an author uses language to shape meaning, how they use form to shape meaning, and how they use structure to shape meaning. So let's just take a quick look at what each one means. First up, what is language analysis? As you may be able to guess, language is really central to literature. It's no secret that language is absolutely everywhere in a text. Fortunately, language analysis is simpler than it sounds. To be good at language analysis is just to be good at asking, out of all the words in the world, why did the author choose these words? And how do they shape their author's meaning? There are different levels to language analysis, and we'll go through those in the next video. But the question is essentially always just, why did the author choose these exact words? By the way, it's worth bearing in mind that language analysis is often worth more than form and structure analysis in an essay. So this one is super important. Next up, what is form analysis? Good question. This might be the hardest one. Unfortunately, form is a confusing critical term that is used in a load of different ways. If you search for a definition of form on Google, it will say, the visible shape or configuration of something, a particular way in which a thing exists or appears, a type or variety of something. But actually, these three different definitions cover the different and confusing ways of thinking about literary form. One idea, a bit like the first definition, is that literary form is the really specific, conventional patterns and arrangements of literature, in the way that the sonnet is a form. Another idea, a bit like the second definition, is that literary form is the more abstract underlying logic and unifying design of a work, which is unique to each text, like a text's blueprints. And then one more idea, which is like the third definition, is that literary form is more or less the same as genre, in the way that the Bildungsroman novel might be called a novelistic form. The word form is commonly used in all these ways, and all of them will score you marks. To sum up these three ideas in one definition, I think the best we can do is slightly vaguely say that form is your text type. In some way, form always determines the shape, appearance, and type of text, a bit like scaffolding holding up a building. Ultimately, form is how a text is written, not what is said. So when we're analysing form, we need to be asking, why did the author choose this appearance and type of text? Finally, what is structure analysis? Well, structure is the arrangement or assembly or joining together of parts, the order and way in which the bits are put together. All texts are built up of parts, however you break them down. Texts are made up of sentences or lines which have their own structures, but also build up to form paragraphs or stanzas, which might build up to form chapters or scenes or acts, etc. And eventually they'll build up to form the whole text. So structure analysis involves looking at any one bit of a text and asking, why did the author choose to put the parts in this order? Having been through language, form, and structure, we can now say how we're going to understand it. Language is what the author says, form is how the author says it, and structure is the order in which the author says it. Got it? I'll repeat it anyway. Language is what the author says, form is how the author says it, and structure is the order in which the author says it. That is all there is to it, but it's still incredibly important, so buckle up. Each of the next 4 videos will follow this super helpful pattern. First, we'll identify what you need to look out for, then we'll see how you might analyze it. By the end, you should feel comfortable analyzing language, form, and structure. Easy peasy. So have faith, and the wonderfully subtle meanings will eventually unfold themselves for you, especially if you pay close attention to the next 4 videos. Yep, the time has come. Head on over to begin analysis.